Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully, everyone is having a great Thursday. I'm just going to get our guest invited in to the chat for today. And let me know if you can hear me okay. Hi, Haley. Hopefully, maternity leave is treating you well. We miss you. Let's see. Looks like Kevin is in. I want to make sure we're able to see him. Hi,
Hey,
Kevin.
Kate, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's Thursday, can't complain.
Yeah, feeling the same. We're almost to Friday. Awesome. Well, I will kind of start to kick things off. I know Kevin and I are both super excited to be here today. We've got an awesome agenda. Um, by the way, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kate Newman. I'm on the campus recruiting team. I'm based out of Milwaukee, and I'm supporting Wisconsin and Indiana as my territory. And then I have a fellow teammate here from the campus team. I will let you introduce yourself, Kev.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? My name is Kevin Wilson. I am based in our Dallas office. So I'm also on the campus recruiting team as a corporate recruiter, and I cover the entire South Central US. I'm really excited to talk to you about everything today about campus season.
Yay! Perfect. Well, then I'll kind of let everyone know what we're here to talk about. So today we want to talk all things career fair, prep tips and tricks from our campus recruiting team. We know that going into career fairs can be really stressful. Searching for a job can be really stressful. So we really just want to use this time today to kind of break things down and hopefully make it seem a little less scary, less intimidating for those college seniors that are looking for a career post graduation. So, first, we wanted to get into the topic of how to prepare the night before a fair. So, it's the night before the fair. I'm getting ready. What do I need to do, Kevin? I'll let you take over.
Listen, I think getting set the night before will set up your fair for total success. I mean, it's what you kind of have to do to take advantage of that time because it's going to go really quickly. So,
Yeah.
big thing, like big place to start is just research the companies that are going to be present at your career fair and even just some of the roles that they have available. This can feel like a lot sometimes. I mean, most of the time, your career services or maybe your whole university will post, hey, for this fair tomorrow, this is exactly who's going to be here. So if it feels like too much to take on a ton at once, choose five. Pick the companies of maybe what sparks your interest the most, or maybe even names you know. Start there and see what you could really get into with those positions that they might have available and where they're going to be located at the fair. I know sometimes it's not available until like the same day when you're walking in and you get a map, but I think that location can be really helpful to help even plan your route of where you want to go during the fair. Would you agree, Kate?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think just bouncing off of that is, like you said, picking your top five, maybe put them in order of which ones you're most excited about, because then you can kind of game plan, okay, I want to start at this booth. I'll work my way to the next one and kind of get through those. Especially if you're working on a time constraint, then you know what you need to prioritize. So I love that tip.
Yeah, another big thing might seem simple, but you need to figure out what you're going to wear. And if you feel like, hey, maybe even do like a get ready with me video if you're trying to like really get in the mindset, post it on your socials. But I would definitely recommend something business professional. I think always overdressing is better than underdressing. And I know it's a school day. If you're in the South like me, we're still hitting 100-degree temps. So I think like something that's really important is to be comfortable. You're going to be on your feet, so wear some comfortable shoes.
Yes.
And think about this as almost a job interview. It's going to be an initial conversation. It's going to be comfortable, but you want to make a good first impression. And we're going to remember, like, sometimes what you're wearing. There are candidates where I'm like, oh, they were so, like, dressed so well. She was wearing the pink blazer, or, he had those cool shoes we talked about. So even that can be a starting off point as a place of conversation.
Definitely. I love that tip. I think that that's great.
Yeah. Anything else I would say, maybe if you have a Padfolio or even just a folder, bring a folder to organize everything you're going to bring and then take away with you. So, of course, you got to be bringing those resumes, have them printed and ready to go. And honestly, print more than you think you're going to need. Always having extra is best. And it's the way that we can have a takeaway from you for the fair. So make sure those resumes are printed. And then in that same folder, or maybe, bring a bag or something too, you can store all of the pamphlets and company information for all the companies we'll be talking to. So bring something to stay organized too, because carrying a stack of papers around is going to feel a little chaotic at a career fair.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think organization is key, same as prep, which is the kind of, I guess, note we're picking up on from what you're saying right now is make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah, completely agree. And then, yeah, start to think about what you're going to say. Like, how are you going to introduce yourself? Like, what do you want to have these companies leaving with an impression of you on? So start to think about maybe that elevator pitch. What do you think, Kate?
I would totally agree. That's exactly what I wanted to get into next. I feel like some students don't know what to say in their elevator pitch. So I wanted to kind of transition into breaking that down for them. Both what to say in an elevator pitch, I think can be really helpful, but also how to make a good impression at the fair besides what you're, wearing. Obviously, dress to impress, totally agree. But let's think of some other, action items that they can have for making a good impression and then including in their elevator pitch.
Yes. Biggest thing I emphasize to every single candidate I know, all my friends, all my family, anybody for even just a job interview, but specifically at career fairs, be yourself. Like, we are there to genuinely get to know you and what you're looking for. And I think it's great to, be prepared, have something, maybe even start with a script, but make it feel genuine to you and what you actually want to share, because that's how we're going to get to know you as a person. It could maybe even help us guide you towards what position or what team might be a better fit for you. And if we discover that later in the process, you're like, oh, I was, saying I was all these things, but really I'm this, I'm really looking for this. Like, that doesn't help anybody in the process. So be yourself, be upfront, and be honest with us. If we don't have something to offer you, that's okay. We can maybe direct you to one of the other booths around us, or, maybe even just help narrow down some specific teams at Beacon Hill that could be a better fit. So start there, be yourself, and let that personality shine through. Honestly, like, that's how I build a great bond with somebody. I want to get to know you as a person. And yes, I want to hear about your accomplishments, your accolades, but I want to get to know you as the candidate, not just a general student. So yeah, I would say start with your, be yourself. Do you think that makes a good impression, Kate?
I completely agree. I would say, smile, make eye contact, firm handshake, all that stuff is really going to be important. And just showing your rapport building skills. I mean, we are in an industry where we are talking, to people all day, every day. So showing that you're good at making those, human connections, human interaction is going to be key. So yeah, like Kevin said, the first thing is being yourself, and you're going to make a really great impression if you start there.
Yeah. Now,
Awesome.
If you're not sure, like, where to start, because sometimes that can feel intimidating. I mean, it's essentially kind of a public speaking setting in a sense, and that's okay. We get nervous too, I promise you. Even if we look put together, for us, even sometimes I'm having myself for fairs, like, all right, got this, it's going to be great. But if you don't know where to start, it's like, hey, what is important information to get out there? Here's what I would recommend covering in your own words. Start with, definitely your name, your major, your anticipated graduation date, and honestly specifying year and making sure it's on your resume too is really important. And just really a high level overview of your work experience and your experience in school. I think a lot of students sometimes forget how much effort and energy you're putting into those organizations on campus, the projects you've done, and we want to hear about some of that. So pick a couple of highlights to be like, I'm really proud that I accomplished this, or I'm a part of this organization and I hold this leadership position. Those are things that all stand out to us. So don't undervalue your own experience, and think about, like, yeah, what could I really, what makes me a valuable addition to a company, which can sound really general, but put that in your own words. So I'd say start there, high level of your experience, all of the basics, who, what, where, when, why. And, honestly be open about what roles you are targeting. I think this is where it gets kind of interesting for a lot of students, because sometimes, I was somebody, for example, when I was graduating, I was looking at multiple fields, and I was truly open to hearing about what companies were, had to offer. But
Yeah.
being as specific as you can really help us help you. So
Definitely.
if you're open to multiple things, maybe mention, hey, I'm definitely flexible, but I think my skills cater to, marketing, and I really want a people focused role, or, whatever you are really looking for. Emphasize even responsibilities, or just feel free to emphasize things you're not looking for too. That can help us give you some direction. So it's great to be open, but giving that kind of specificity can help us guide you a little better. So have some just highlights, or just some general direction.
I love that. Yeah, I think, like you said, having a top couple of choices, then we can narrow things down a little bit better, even if it isn't a good fit. And we're there too to help point you in a different direction if maybe a different company at the fair is a good fit. Ultimately, we want to make sure that we're placing you in the best position possible. So I love that piece of advice. Anything else you think is important in terms of making a good impression at the fair? Any other points you want to add?
Good question. Um, I think I'd probably say, one, have some questions prepared. And this is where that research the night before can really come into play, where maybe you've looked into the company's, their values, or even just their locations or specifics about the job. Those questions, again, coming from a genuine place, can really help us see why you're interested in the role. And, seeing that interest or that excitement or that passion is really what gets us excited about this job. So, ask those questions, have some good ones prepared. And I think there's two sides to questions, right? Because I think a lot of people might ask, how is success measured? Where do company, or where do, people get to grow in this role? And while those are important, those might be questions that a lot of other people are asking. So either find a way to ask it so it's memorable from you, or just, like, again, coming from a really genuine place, we can kind of tell, like, we've been in your shoes and we can kind of tell when those questions are a little bit more generic. And that's okay if they are, but it really stands out when they're a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when you're asking those questions or engaging in the conversation with us, that's showing us that you are excited about this opportunity. And like you said, it all comes from the prep, because if you looked up Beacon Hill and you heard about our holiday party or something like that, and you inquire about it at the fair, again, you're showing us that you did your research, but you're also showing that you're genuinely excited about what we have to offer at Beacon Hill, which is naturally going to make us want to vouch even harder for you and getting you through the interview process, and hopefully a future Beacon Hiller. So I love that piece of advice. I saw Haley added into the chat, which I love. Look up when walking around, don't look at the ground. I think that's huge too, just your body language in general. We see a lot of students that are just maybe so nervous, which is completely understandable, and just staring at the ground or staring at their feet. We're automatically drawn to the students that are looking at our booth. They're, smiling, they're wanting to walk over. So be, like, cognizant of what you look like when you're walking around the fair, and yeah, engage in eye contact, keep your eyes up, and yeah, good place to start too. So awesome. Well, I liked what you said about having questions prepared. I think this is really important. Obviously, we only have so much time, so maybe think of your top questions that you really want to make sure you're asking us. But do you want to give a couple examples of what good questions to ask a recruiter at the fair might be, Kev?
Ooh, yeah. One, I mean, an easy one to start is, like, confirm the positions they have open or that they're recruiting for. Sometimes, certain companies might post positions at different times that are available in different offices, or, maybe that team isn't ready to interview, but they're still going to have it available sometime this year. So that recruiter's going to know exactly what they have open for you, or at least the potential for what could be open. So start there. Ask, like, hey, what could I go into starting in May or starting in December even? So confirm the positions that I would say are open at the company. Next big one, especially for a company like Beacon Hill, confirm location. And in conversation with employers, right? Some employers have the kind of MO that you're going to, hey, we have this opportunity open in Lincoln, Nebraska. So that's where, we're going to be recruiting for. That's where you'd go after graduation. For a company like Beacon Hill, we have more than 60 offices across the country, and we want to hear from you, like, where do you want to be? So with this, I also, I think it's a good place to start with the question, but know kind of what your maybe even top 3 or 4 choices are. If you have one that's really specific, again, like I said earlier, even if you're open on location, knowing some general direction makes you look a lot more like you know what you want and value your own time, instead of being like, I'll take anything, I'll go anywhere, which, even if that's true, say, like, well, I think I'm open to any of your locations, but I think, Nashville and Dallas and Chicago are my top, choices for these reasons. So we understand things might change. We're not going to hold you to it, but knowing some direction there can be great with just, location. So ask us if you don't know. Other than that, I'd say, feel free to ask, maybe what we look for in a candidate, or even what our application process looks like, or our interview process. We'll know a lot of those things, and can give you some general guidance, but a lot of that will come in our process too. So I think those are good questions to start with at the fair because it's also a quick environment and those conversations can feel pretty fast. So, so yeah, I'd say start with like the most important things to you.
That is so helpful. I love that. I think it's the perfect place to start. Now, speaking of kind of starting there and then making that interaction from, okay, we met this candidate at the fair, they asked great questions, they showed interest, they are really excited, and we're really excited about them. If that's the case, we're going to try our best to get you set up for an on campus interview, usually which is the day after the fair. So, for those students or those candidates that are getting on campus interviews requested for the day after, let's kind of get into that. I know this can be a little bit of a different beast to prepare for, similar but different to the fair. So I wanted to get into breaking down for them how to prepare for an on-campus interview and some of your best tips and tricks to share on that.
Yeah, I think first place to start with the resources available to you. And most of the recruiters at these fairs should have a pretty like stocked up LinkedIn profile up for you to go see. I know for all of us at Beacon Hill, you can find that easily in our email signatures, or we might be messaging you before the fair too, which you can find that on LinkedIn. So look us up, or even on Handshake. Our profiles are going to be on that. So take a peek, look at our background, see maybe what brought us to the company or where we were before this. I know for me, I've been in the professional world for a little while before I came to Beacon Hill in this role. So I even have other companies to compare this to or my experience to. So learn our story, get to know us as people, because we might have some good insight, excuse me, some good insight into, what brought us here and what we enjoy about working here, and maybe even comparing some insight to our previous experiences or what we've seen in other parts of the industry too. So I think starting with that LinkedIn profile can really be helpful, even just to build some like personal or professional questions there to learn more and build this relationship more. So coming in there is great. It shows you did your research the night before, which is awesome. And then I'd say, have some questions more specifically about the role. Think about your day to day, or think about maybe even your favorite things that you like to do, maybe in your organizations on campus, maybe in your classes, or if you've worked already, throughout college or during school. Feel free to say like, you know what, in these roles, I really enjoyed this, this, and this. I really enjoyed talking to people. I really enjoyed, helping people find their right fit. Those would be great things to apply for Beacon Hill. But, we can make those connections for you so you can even see, oh, well, I really enjoyed this in my leasing position in college, or when I was bartending, I really loved the relationships. We can help, show you how that's demonstrated in our positions. So build some good questions there about the day-to-day. That's where I like to start. I love to talk about with this job. I could go on for days and days talking about Beacon Hill and the roles that we hire for. So trust me, we will have an answer for you no matter what your question's going to be. So start there. And then I'd say definitely show some interest in asking questions about the company, whether it's career path, maybe it's training, start dates, opportunities for growth. Those things can really show your kind of future thinking abilities and, commitment to a company. I think there's a lot out there on social media about people, kind of being open to different jobs all the time and people being worried about, well, is there enough growth? I know at Beacon Hill, we have a ton and we're happy to talk about it. So those types of questions can help us see that you're ready to invest in Beacon Hill, you're serious about this and giving this a real shot. If somebody's coming in here and looking just for a stepping stone, this probably isn't the right job for you. We are a really fast-paced environment, and honestly, from everybody I know at Beacon Hill, we're a company of all stars. So we are looking for people that can really thrive in that environment instead of just looking to, get a job for getting a job's sake. We want you to want this job, and you don't have to have it, directly in mind. Like I know staffing for me was kind of a surprise, but I'm so happy I'm here. So I'd say just have some kind of questions about the company, where you could go and where you could grow. And then lastly, final thing is just, I would say, follow up from an on-campus interview on both sides. It's going to be really important. I'd encourage you, like, send a follow-up thank you, or, if you happen to get our number or something, give us a call, send us a text, or whatever you have time for, just to let us know that you really enjoyed the interview, you're really serious about Beacon Hill. Like, we love talking to y'all. You're never bothering us. And yes, this is a really busy time of year for us, but having that follow-up is how we continue that conversation after that on-campus interview.
I could not agree more. And it's also going to make you stand out, kind of like you already mentioned previously. So yeah, follow up, definitely super important. It helps us realize how interested you are, keep you at the top of our priority list. And it also helps you. So it's a great place to kind of finish things off after you've had your on-campus interview. The next thing that I wanted to kind of jump into is, in general, this doesn't have to be just after the fair. It can be after the on-campus interview too. And I know follow-up will kind of go into this, but what should the candidates or the students expect after the fair? I know a lot of times that's the lingering question is, I met this recruiter, I was super interested, or I had this on-campus interview. Where is this going to go? So let's get into kind of what we can expect after the fair.
Yeah.
Next.
I think setting expectations is really important. And I know we try and do it as much as we can, but it is a really busy time of year. So if, we are interested and we are, thinking this is a great fit for you, we are always going to try and follow up with you as quickly as possible. But there is a little caveat to this. I would say, we'll normally communicate this, but there are times where, for example, this next week, I have 3 fairs that I'm managing. So I might not have the chance to get back to you like within 24 hours, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. Our goal is always as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So if you don't back like within an hour or like immediately, just know you are still on our radar. We're still very serious about you. We might just be at another fair or have another obligation, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So feel free to even ask us, hey, like, when should I hear back? Or excuse me, what should I expect next? Because we'll give you those clear expectations with where we're at during the year. So it is a busy time. There's lots of fairs happening around the country. Our entire team is traveling for the next couple of months. So just know that, we are going to do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. But, we will set those expectations with you. And I'd say that's a good place to start, is just setting those expectations. I'd also feel free to ask us what our preferred method of communication is, and we'll probably do the same with you. If you're somebody who you're like, oh, I never check my email because I miss it sometimes, or I'm really busy with class, that's okay. We know this is a really busy time for y'all as students. So feel free to let us know, hey, you know what, if you could text me, that'd be really helpful. Or, if you just make sure you send an email with, high importance on it, we'll try to do that for you as much as we can. So, we can't wait to get to know you. The other thing I will mention, just to kind of tie up just expectations post-fair and post-on-campus interview, some of our teams across the country, they are so excited to meet you, but they're also, running their current business, and some of them might be ready to have conversations like maybe even next week, but some of them might need a little bit more time, maybe later this fall or potentially even into the winter. So take some time there. We'll be happy to communicate those expectations with you as well, but just have a little bit of patience in that process, and we'll get you in when it's the right time for you.
Yeah, I think that that's great. As you said, we know best, and we will keep you informed. We'll keep you in the loop. So want to kind of package this all into a nutshell and give some ending tips, I guess, for those of the people who are going into career fair season. It sounds like what you're saying, the things that are most important are really prep. This is going to definitely set you up for success and be key into you coming to the fair and making a good impression and showing the best version of yourself. Second thing I would say, dress to impress. It's also super important. Like you said, as if you're going to an interview. I mean, it essentially is an interview. So kind of, picture it that way. And if you have the time or you can put the extra effort in, it's really going to pay off for you. I would say the third thing I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down is being genuine, be authentic in your interaction, whether that is in showing your genuine excitement, showing your genuine curiosity. That is very noticeable for us as the recruiter. Follow-up is huge. Obviously, if you can follow up, please do. Again, it's another thing to kind of set yourself apart and bring you back up to the top of our inbox. And then the fifth thing I kind of feel like we were putting out there as well is, we as your recruiters, we are your advocate. We're your point of contact. We are here to make sure that you are taken care of. Like Kevin said, even if it isn't immediately after the fair or even within the next 24 hours, we are going to try our best, and we are ultimately here to help push you through the interview process in, the most comfortable, seamless way as possible. So I think that covered a lot, and I really appreciate it. Kevin, is there anything else that you want to add as kind of your last piece of advice for the listeners today?
I think that was a great summary. We covered a lot, clearly. It's a busy time of year, but I guess I'll just say, at the end of the day, know that we are rooting for you. We want this to work out. We are on your side, and it helps us if we can get you hired. Like, that is our whole goal. So just know, like, we are looking for positives. We're not looking for anything to be like, oh, they don't have experience in this, or, you know, we're not looking for reasons not to hire you. We are looking for reasons to get you to Beacon Hill. So I know it's a busy time. There's a lot going on campus. There's a lot going on for us on a lot of campuses. So I will just say, like, shout out to Beacon Hill's marketing team. They created this incredible calendar and list of where we're going to be throughout campus season, throughout our travel season. So feel free, look it up on our website. On our Instagram, we'll be promoting it, LinkedIn, like any of our channels. You'll kind of know where we're going to be at week to week. So use that as a resource. And just thank you for tuning in today, listening to us. We can't wait to meet you guys on campus here. I mean, I know for me, I start next week, but we have recruiters on campus right now up in the Midwest, I'm pretty sure. So it's already begun.
Yeah, so excited. And we also will be sending messages. I know Kevin kind of mentioned that earlier, to students as well. So trying to find any way to get the news out that we will be on your campus. So as Kevin said, we're super excited to kick off campus season. We're excited to see your faces on campus. And thank you everyone so much for tuning in today. It's been great.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, everybody.